Nothing is working. You created a website, you've got some videos, your social media has a lot of good ideas on it. What do you do? Have you ever had an idea for a product or service? You put this whole concept together, you have the test case, the test version, you've baited this whole thing out, you've got some amazing things to show people in the industry in which you're hoping to gain this clientele, and nothing is working. You created a website, you've got some videos, your social media has a lot of good ideas on it. You've scoured LinkedIn for those connections in that industry, but yet still there's nothing really coming together for you on this thing. What do you do? Do you pick up the phone? Do you start cold calling? Do you start cold emailing? Well, one thing that we've started doing in the last 6 or 7 years is going to conferences, industry conferences and trade shows. Have you ever thought about that before? What are the good things about going to conferences? Well, first of all, we've tried a lot of cold contact with some of our smaller brands or sub-brands that popped up, especially during the pandemic. A lot of people weren't responding, we weren't getting any traction, we didn't know people in that industry already very well, but we started doing some searching and realized that there's industry shows and trade shows that happen throughout the year for really most industries in general. It might not be directly your consumer, but it might be adjacent to your consumer. And one thing that we've really enjoyed about that is, number one, we like to travel. So anytime we can hop in the car, have a bunch of banners and postcards and pens, and travel out to a different state and check things out, that's a lot of fun. But that's obviously not the key reason we're there. It's not a vacation. So the second reason we like being there is because we're getting in front of people, hopefully directly involved in the industry in which we're trying to infiltrate, right? So we're doing a bunch of work through virtual career tech that we provide a platform for virtual tours and career fairs for career tech education sites. So these are almost like, if you haven't heard of CTE, you should check it out. But think of trade school for high school students. It was a great way for us to get our information in front of the people who we want to be our end users. And a lot of people who are decision makers attend those conferences as well. In many cases, what we're doing is we're loading up our vehicle with a monitor, on a stand. We've got some banners representing our companies and the services that we provide there. We've got 5x7 postcards that have questions and lines for taking notes on the back. Of course, they contain our contact information and a brief description of what we do. But I think the biggest strength about going to a conference, in addition to everything we've already touched on, is the fact that you're face-to-face able to meet with people, talk with people, and build real physical rapport with them. I think that many industries are just like that. They're not web-based or email-based or phone call-based. You really need to have FaceTime with somebody. And the best way to start to form a friendship, even prior to thinking about business, is to go meet people where they're at in their space, where they're already comfortable, where you can actually go and learn from them. There's a lot of sessions, a lot of kind of keynote speeches where you can learn what's going on in that industry just simply by attending and by showing up. So we really try to divide our time up at conferences between booth time, where we're sitting at our booth and we're talking to people and we're demoing our product, and maybe we're a little salesy, of course, just trying to collect cards and have follow-up conversations. But the other half of that time, our team is out sitting in these real specific session topics that pertain to our product and kind of our space in that industry. There's nothing that gets you to the point faster than hearing from the folks that could be using your product, learning from what they've experienced, learning what the pros and cons have been, to help you not only go, okay, yeah, there is a need for this, or maybe there isn't a need for this, or there's a need for this, but I need to make a few changes that I didn't even think about because I don't come out of that industry day to day anymore. We find conferences, conventions, trade shows to be a really great way to spend our time and also our money. So some of these are free to go to. If you're an exhibitor, sometimes it's free, but most of the time you're having to pay. It's part of your marketing budget each year. You set aside X $100, or depending on the conference, it might be thousands of dollars to get a booth there. You're setting aside money for travel, hotel, food, all that good stuff. But it can come back in multiple folds if you're there for the right reasons. You're there to meet people, you're there to network, you're there to share your service with folks, but you're also there to learn from them, humble yourself, and soak up everything like a sponge. One other neat thing that happens probably 50% of the time is that the conference organizers, as part of your sponsorship of that conference, or as part of your marketing dollar, your exhibiting dollar, sometimes they'll provide you actually with a list of the people who attended. So that does a couple great things. Number one, it gives you a list of everybody who was there, and you can use that attendee list to reach out to people after the fact. One thing that we do just for fun and just to help demo what we can do a little bit is we a lot of times will put together a recap video of our experience at the conference. 2 to 3 minutes, fun music, fun shots of the convention space, of the keynote speaker, of the lunch, of the breakout sessions and around town. We can put that together, capturing little video clips throughout our time at the conference, but then showing a little bit about what we can do, and that's a great reason to reach out to these folks. I'm not asking them for anything. I'm saying, I hope you had a great time at the conference. Check out this video, see if you can find yourself in here, and show it to your boss to prove that you were actually there and not out partying or something while you're in Milwaukee, right? There's a lot of really interesting strategies, a lot of really interesting follow-up methods, and lots of great learning and sort of industry experience to draw from on these conferences and conventions. I recommend them in a big way, but of course, after the fact, you need to analyze how much did you spend, what all that went into it, and did you get a return on that? Did anybody follow up from your email? Did you actually have any authentic conversations? Did you schedule any follow-up calls? So it's up to you to evaluate that and see if that's a good idea for your business or not. We're big fans. What do you think? Have you had some really great experiences at conferences and conventions, kind of sharing your business or your product or service, or has it always been a big bust for you? Let us know in the comments or DM us. We're always glad to have the conversation offline, and we'll see you in the next episode.